That's awesome. I checked out your channel. You've got my sub by Dungeon Chill a month ago. Maybe I was drunk when I replied. Oh well. Parasocial relationship
Activated.
Dungeon Chill, Grimbeard. Dungeon Chill, Grimbeard. Dungeon Chill, Grimbeard. Dungeon Chill, Grimbeard. Why did you interrupt me? Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, my phone's dead. Dungeon Chill, Grimbeard. Dungeon Chill, Grim. When I think about a game I haven't played in 27 years, I usually have a few seared memories that make up the groundwork of my entire experience, both good and bad. I find it satisfying to reaffirm my long-term memory, though occasionally I completely forget about something or whole elements of the game altogether. It's what makes revisiting so fun, most of the time. Other times, it's what I can't possibly recall that makes the games simply obsolete. I'm talking about Project Tenka, a trailblazing game for the PlayStation that had top-of-the-line graphical fidelity, a totally this isn't from Predator laser sight that predates so many games like Resident Evil 4, sliding mechanics that predate dozens of first-person shooters like Apex Legends, a visible counter for your ammo, limb severing that predates Dead Space. Doesn't this sound like this is top of the line? And a classic? I'm sure it did back then too. There was just one thing I forgot about. It may well be the most boring first-person shooter in the history of video games. Unfortunately, I nearly summarized the entire Tenka experience, which is a bitter shame because there is a fantastic foundation here. Also, while this game breaks new ground with so many eye-catching features, it has one of the worst control schemes to ever grace a first-person shooter. Am I being hyperbolic? I don't know. Check out all these beautiful options and decide for yourself. None of them having a strafe left and right. You are forced to use a button press and then left and right to step around corners. It's awful, and as so many people will tell you, playing it is the only way to do it justice. But I urge you not to do that. So I wanted to do a review on it, but it's just so unbelievably bland and repetitive. And so my search continued, after listening to this amazing voice acting, naturally.
The entrance to a bio-research lab. And this voice, it's beginning.
You are quite correct.
Who? What? What do you want?
I remember Loaded as being basically a launch title and was reveled in its edginess, violence, and sweet graphics. But what I did not remember is that after about 45 seconds of shooting things in 8 directions, you find a card key, and after that, you open a door. Congratulations, you have officially seen everything this game has to offer. No, seriously. It is that repetitive. It is very, very that repetitive. This game did have its place in history for having nice visual effects to wow us newfound gamers, masking some incredibly tedious and not at all fun gameplay. I was just dinking around, but I was nearly incapacitated with boredom by the end of the very first map. So my search continued again, and then there was a ray of light. Going through my collection, I remember Disruptor. I think I had fun playing this, and on top of that, I had actually beaten this one, and I definitely remember some grade A shit acting to carry the narrative from map to map. Let's hope third time is a charm. Disruptor is a Doom-style first-person shooter developed by Insomniac Games and published by Universal Interactive Studios in 1996. This is the same Insomniac Studios that developed Spyro the Dragon and the Ratchet & Clank series, along with the most recent Spider-Man titles. What I did not know about going into this review is how this game was their literal first project and one that nearly sank their chances of developing the preceding titles ever again. There are some great articles that go into much better detail, but the short story is that 2 young men that had a thirst for becoming game developers got a hold of the Panasonic 3DO development kit and got to work on their first official game called Disruptor. Once they got a workable demo build, they were politely turned away due to their inexperience and the underperformance of the console at that time. They took the feedback of switching to the PlayStation and struck a deal with Universal to get this project up and running. An executive at Universal took them under their wing to help with the project as things got difficult, and after a year, we got this game unleashed upon the world. Unfortunately, despite even being praised by John Romero, founder of Doom, which I think that's a pretty nice compliment, along with decent ratings by publications overall, the game failed to turn a profit. Thankfully, Universal gave them a second chance to continue to work together, and history writes itself at this point. I just find it interesting just how small this studio was at one point. on to the game.
And now, the President of United Earth.
In 4 short years, we will enter the 23rd century. And thanks to the policies of my administration, the future never looked brighter. But our colonization of the solar system still has its growing pains. As you already know, I too was once a stormer. Of course, that was many years ago, and we were just pioneering the field of psionic weapons. But my experiences in uniform built a foundation of service, loyalty, and of courage. If you can survive the Lightstorm training, you will bear the awesome responsibility of defending global democracy throughout the regions of space. Who knows? Perhaps one day you'll find yourself sitting behind this desk as President of United Earth and Commander-in-Chief of the Lightstorm Forces.
Okay, little brother. This is your last chance to change your mind and go home.
I didn't graduate top 10 from the academy to take some desk job, sir.
Dad would have been proud of your grades. But school's over and now the real lessons begin. Are you ready for your first training mission, Private?
Sir, yes, sir!
Your job is simple. Run the gauntlet and get your butt out alive.
Now, who's this, sir?
That's the top of your class.
Troy Alexander?
He seems to know his way around the block. How about you?
Will I be getting any psionics, sir?
Why would the government waste good money implanting expensive psionic weapons in a cherry recruit? If you don't have the brain power to outmaneuver a few droids with attitude, I'd never forgive myself for sending you on a real mission. Just remember, think fast, shoot fast, and kick ass.
Oh, let's spread some democracy, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Starting things out, you are given a rudimentary map with very simple enemies, and to familiarize yourself with the controls with one of 2 hit-scan weapons in the game, along with its ammo in the form of a clip. Magazines are what they put in the dentist's office. This is called a clip. And since it's in this game, it's all fact now. All you gun nuts can flood the comments. Admittedly, this first map does little to get the player excited for what's to come next. The initial enemies are about as lame as they get. A ball that spikes you up close, and a floating chainsaw bot. Thankfully, it is over in a blink. Our young hero awakens from his psionic egg beater treatment to await his next mission. Let's just watch.
They say the first one hurts the worst. How many psionics did your dad have?
I don't know, like 4 or 5?
All the psionics in the world couldn't have saved him from that terrorist ambush. That's why you've always got to keep your eyes open. And watch your ass.
Which psionic did we get, sir?
Nothing too shocking. Maybe it's time you tried it out. Now you know this training mission won't be a cakewalk like the last one. I want you to get through the chem factory alive. And don't forget, good stormers always think on their feet.
You end up picking the phase rifle up on this map, which is devastating on biological targets. Right out of the gate, this game treats you like an adult and expects you to swap weapons appropriately for each target type. Your 18mm semi-automatic pistol works on metallic opponents far better than the energy weapons, and vice versa. You also get your psionic called Shock, a very hard-hitting attack, which is basically a melee. It takes down tough enemies on either side of the spectrum, but zaps that sweet psionic juice rapidly with each blast.
That was nice going back in the chem lab. Real nice. I think you actually beat my record.
Thanks.
Man, aren't you getting tired of playing these games? I am.
I say if we're calling it a game, we're still not ready for a mission.
Are you kidding me? Man, I haven't missed one trick. Not even that hidden stuff. I'm ready to go.
Any hints on this next one?
Just that you'll be getting a new psionic called Drain.
How's it work?
You'll figure it out.
So what's the mission?
It's a high-pressure IQ test. They want to see if you can nail the bad guys without blowing away any of the hostages.
Hostages?
In the words of your brother, being a stormer, it's more than just kicking ass. Show us you got what it takes, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll send you out on a real mission.
Level 4 has you learn the Drain Psionic, something that you'll probably want on most of the time, unfortunately. This will become apparent as the game progresses. Simply fire these slow projectiles and orbs will appear in the space where you hit the enemy. It does a small amount of damage per hit as well, so in 1v1 scenarios, you may just want to duke it out and kill enemies to juice yourself up. The orbs disappear after about 10 seconds, so you gotta nab that shit. In larger firefights, you can mash the psionic attack with your weapons, adding a bit of damage and getting yourself some energy in the aftermath.
Jealous? Look, Troy's a little faster out of the gate than you are, that's all. But he still relies a little too much on what's in his hands instead of what's in his head. Fortunately, that's not a problem you seem to have. So cheers.
What is it?
A gang of cryo-pirates just pulled into orbit over Jupiter. Looks like we've got to find someone to beam onto their base and knock out their anti-gravity engines. I think you can handle this. But before we send you into combat, you're gonna need some medical enhancement.
Well, I've already taken advanced first aid at the academy.
Look, you didn't get all this high-priced training just to get blown away by pirates. We need to protect our investment. Considering the cost of medical care, I think you'll appreciate what I'm offering. Before we send you halfway across space, let's take a trip to the Psionics lab.
You also get your hands on this game's shotgun, called the EM Blaster. So now it's time to play, Is This Shotgun Good? Is this shotgun good? Is this shotgun good? No, it isn't. It's serviceable, and it has its uses, but it's also slow to fire and takes some tact to use against the tougher enemies. I would rate it a 5 out of 10. Certainly not the worst FPS shotgun, but utterly forgettable in its design and its pop. Also introduced in this map is this adorable Ed 209 that misses copyright infringement somehow. But I mean, it's not like any part of this game is original up to this point, so why am I even bothering to critique this?
Observation complete. This new Lightstormer, Jack Curtis, looks promising. He could be the one. Report out.
You're really making us proud. Corporal?
Corporal? I heard it took Dad 3 missions to make Corporal. How long did it take you?
You know, President Krieger's taken notice.
Why does no one answer this kid's questions?
In fact, he's so impressed he requisitioned an endorphin boost to permanently enhance your vitals.
I guess he wants to keep me around for a few missions, right?
Here. You're a big boy. Better learn to implant it yourself.
You mean I'll get more of these later?
Jack, they're unbelievably expensive. We don't hand them out like candy.
Dad served under President Krieger, didn't he?
President Krieger's the one who tried to rescue Dad during the ambush. He said Dad was the best of the best.
Well, until I came along, right?
Save your bragging until later, because this time we're really putting you to the test.
That's a vintage terraformer. It's at least 10 years old.
Very astute. 10 years ago, the government sent a group of contractors to resurface Neptune's largest moon, Triton, for farmland. They've been living and working in these terraformers without any problem. Until this morning.
Never been to Triton. Any pointers?
Yeah, don't drink the water and don't breathe the air.
You going to Neptune too? Sergeant?
Jack, I have full faith you can handle this mission alone. We're sending the sergeant on a special mission to Mars.
Special mission, huh?
Congratulations on your promotion.
Yours too.
Bet it won't be long till we both make lieutenant. Who knows, you might even get there first. Nah.
Level 5 has you start on top of a large land crawler, I think. The draw distance is pretty small, so I think this is the case. You're introduced to 3 additional bio enemies in one stage, and things start to ramp up a bit. You are now also powered up with your first Dawn Dish Soap pod, which increases your maximum life to 125%. You will also get a couple of new gadgets here. The Plasma Lance, a single-use weapon meant to clear entire rooms with its plasma lancing. I find out by test firing naturally into these tiny, trivial enemies. Next time. If you are persistent enough like me to find out what the deal is with this, you can also unlock the AM Cyclone, a 5-shot plasma cannon that lights up the area with destructive goodness. After a couple of volleys, I set it in my backpack for when I really need it, which is never, because I'm hardwired to never use these things. I'm like an old man with a junk drawer of old shit I never used like that. It's here on my revisit that I had a shocking revelation. I really, really like this game. It's compact, challenging, slick, and fun. I legitimately was enjoying this experience, possibly more than I did back in the day. It sticks to the Doom base mechanics while featuring an excellent level design. It forces you to swap weapons frequently. Each map is so far varied, and it does not get repetitive, especially in this era of FPSs. And it's its job to be repetitive. Its job. Its job as an FPS is to be repetitive. It's its job.
The President himself read your Triton report.
What did you make of those mutant icemen?
He was as surprised as I was. He's sending a team of scientists up there to study them. But because of your outstanding performance, he's giving you...
Another promotion?
No. He's giving you a special assignment.
Oh yeah? Where?
Mars.
Mars? Well, what about Troy?
He didn't make it. Don't make his mistake, Jack. Remember, use everything you've got. This orb was uncovered on an archaeological dig on Mars. We think it's alien in origin.
I guess that makes it worth a few bucks.
Yeah, well, we need to get you up there to bring it back. Everyone on the dig was wiped out. We don't know why. I've got a bad feeling about this one. The transportation beam is having a stability problem. Even if we get you up there, we doubt that your weapons will make it through.
Hey, don't sweat it. It'll give me some time to try out that new psionic.
The next map starts you on Mars with no weapons. You are meant to farm these enemies for its psionic energy and maximize your resources throughout, and that's here where I suffered my first death. I was really struggling with this new psionic power, the Psychic Blast, as it didn't really seem to be doing a whole lot. So after I die, the loading screen shows me some hints on how to progress in the game.
Things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
This mission is where the game officially gets much more difficult. You lose all of your weapons and are relying on your ability to ration psionics and utilize the blast correctly. You don't want to use it unless you have multiple enemies in front of you, since you won't break even with the cost unless you kill upwards to 5 at once. The weapons provided in the first half are not viable for most of the enemies here. At the end of the map, you'll reach the orb which you seek and immediately warp out.
Intercept the orb before it reached President Krieger. But the Lightstormer has demonstrated a natural ability to harness the fundamentals of its power.
I don't know what was in that orb, little brother, but orders came in that its retrieval is to remain top secret.
My lips are sealed, but I tell you one thing, it did wonders for my psionics. You know, if Dad had one of those orbs, I bet he'd still be with us today.
I'd like that. But with great men like President Krieger, we can help carry on the Lightstormer tradition. Now, we've got a problem down in Antarctica. I hope you brought your mittens.
Don't I ever get any R&R?
What do you call those 3 days you just had in the hospital?
You call healing from a psionic implant a vacation? You're sicker than I thought. Sir.
Vacation authorization comes directly from the president.
You know, my head feels like it's reaching critical mass. What was that thing?
Something you're gonna need down there in the snow. Do you remember those mutants you discovered on Triton?
Yeah.
Those genius scientists brought a few of them to Antarctica for research.
Don't tell me. They got a little frisky.
Our reports show that some of them have mastered the cyclone. Hopefully they're all popsicles by now. We need you to get down there and retrieve their genetic data bank. Is that understood, Sergeant?
Sergeant?
The next map combines everything we have learned up to this point, mixing up close quarters combat along with some larger arena-style maps with hard-hitting tanks. Again, I really appreciate the variety of the visuals. Despite being a fairly simplistic shooter, the multitude of enemies keeps things fresh from map to map. That said, this one does drag on a tad, having you open door after door on the latter half.
Nothing beats a hot meal after playing in the snow.
This might. Here, you're gonna need it. We're shipping you to the moon of Io.
No, I heard it's got a great view of Jupiter.
Well, not where you're going. It seems that a few greedy members of the Jovian crime family have decided to take control of the sulfurine mines.
Why don't we just vaporize the whole moon?
Then where would we get the sulfurine to produce the antimatter for our weapons?
Got a good point.
Don't forget to send me a postcard.
Level 8. I mean, we have to have a mine level, right? At least it's not a sewer level. Or will it be? No. No, it won't. We've got a duo of baddies here. One sprouting the phase repeater that looks to have no real world application, but in this game serves as the ultimate spam gun. It's like it was designed with myself in mind. The ancillary shots end up hitting one of the targets by accident. I wish Apex Legends had a gun like this. My KD would be much higher than 0.0 this season. The map has a lot of lava that really likes to suck you in at the worst times. This is also a map where your psionics take a bit of a backseat to some good old-fashioned Doom encounters. Spam away, William. Spam away. The map still manages to be tough but fair, minus these bullshit platforming that no one in the world ever asked for. I'm just amazed that there isn't any bullshit tacky maps in this game so far.
You're the finest stormer our academy's produced, Jack. Your father would have been proud.
Thank you, sir.
What's wrong, Lieutenant?
I'm just sorry that Sergeant Alexander didn't make it this far. And I don't understand why my brother isn't here to see this, sir.
He's on special assignment, son. I've sent him to New Atlantis for R&R, and now I'm ordering you there to join him.
R&R? Sir, yes, sir!
Priority 1 emergency. The power reactor on New Atlantis has gone supercritical. Looks like sabotage. Security's been wiped out and I'm 50 clicks from the nearest teleporter. We need someone to get in here, kick ass, and get the core shut down ASAP before it goes to meltdown.
What's the quickest way to the teleporter, sir?
I happen to be familiar with these reactors. Look for the cooling valves in the side rooms. That'll buy you enough time to get to the teleporter in the center core. Now you get there, and we'll transmit you out. Good luck, Lieutenant.
In this map, you're given a short-ass time to familiarize yourself with the environment. Hit these switches and avoid Kamboomski? I wrote Kamboomski. The fuck is wrong with me? And avoid exploding. You're just not going to do this without a few attempts though. Here I got pretty frustrated since enemies throw themselves in front of you purely for the sake of stopping you advancing. And it's something they do very well. Eventually you reach the failsafe, but it doesn't work. You're pulled out by this lady instead as she convinces our protagonist that his entire life has been a lie in about 20 seconds. Just watch.
As soon as you lower this force field, there'll be hell to pay!
Hell was already paid, Lieutenant, by the innocent thousands who died on New Atlantis.
Where's my brother?
We locked onto the coordinates, but we were only able to pull you out.
He's dead?
Murdered. Like all those who died in the blast.
Who the hell did this?
Think about it, Jack. You get to the core of the reactor and there's no teleporter. No exit whatsoever. Is that your idea of R&R?
You're trying to tell me that President Krieger set me up? One of his own men?
His lust for power started long ago. Now that he's got the orb and the genetic databank, he'll create his own army of mutants and have unlimited power. He's got to be stopped.
Why me?
We've been scanning the solar system for someone with strength, wisdom, and integrity. Someone we could trust with man's most powerful weapon. We're with the Alliance of Democracy, Jack, and we need your help. If you are truly committed to defending global democracy, then join us to disrupt Krieger's plans for domination.
What is this great weapon?
An enhanced psionic, known as Terrablast. The procedure only takes 10 minutes. We've already broken the codes to get you into his orbiting habitat. Bring him to us. We'll be a lot fairer to him than he was to your brother.
Man alive, is this kid easy to manipulate. We are wrapping things up here with yet another change in scenery. This map can be very short in length, depending on whether or not you decide to take this left at the beginning of the arm up. The entire lower floor is crawling with enemies. It also has a ton of ammo and weapons to stock up on. Once I died to this utter bullshit near the end, I just skipped that section to run the short length to the final room before the president's office. Save this weapon for the last bullshit room with these 3 tanks, or you're toast when you open that door. I failed to mention the shield psionic up till now, since it's utter shit, as demonstrated here. Finally, we reach the president's office. But wait, there's more.
Well, Lieutenant, I'm very impressed. I thought you died with the rest of them. So, what do you think of the extractor? I think it's a perfect fit. You know, I remember when I requested the funds for a teleporter that looked like my office. The bean counters thought that I was just acting paranoid. Of course, once it was completed, I needed absolute secrecy. So I had them, shall we say, extracted from office.
I simply love how this dude turned pure evil with a drop of a pin. I can't say I saw it coming though.
I'm thinking about getting one for the barracks.
Just like your father. Disrespectful. He tried to stop me once too. He was the only one that figured out that I was looking a lot further down the line than just being some sad sack stormer. You see, he found out that I was hunting for the orb in my spare time. Of course, when he threatened to unmask me, I had a few terrorists pay him a visit. You son of a... Well, Stormer, let's see how you match up with my little toy. You see, I'm not just going to kill you. I'm going into that precious brain of yours, and I'm going to extract that Terrablast your friends at the Alliance gave you. I understand that the extractor can be a little disconcerting to the thought process. I'd offer you a couple of aspirin, but I'm not authorized to prescribe medication. Think good thoughts.
Oh yeah, the level. Nothing's perfect, and neither is this game. If you were to assign this game a number value, let's say 1 to 100%, 1 to 5 stars, as its overall value as a game, there's a decent percentage that is automatically deducted because of this map. It is so dumb on every level that I feel like someone was held at gunpoint to add this section in for whatever reason. It's just unfair. Enemies spawn around you at set locations, forcing you to detonate your psionics at specific times to keep your percentage level high enough to cast the psionics in the first place. But that's not all. You'll also spawn large orbs with psionic energy at various spots, which are timed and need to be collected whenever possible. But more often than not, touching these spawns will spawn more enemies at your feet, almost always forcing you to get stun locked in place, forcing a restart. It's just a classic case of no one wanted this, nobody asked for it. Running through the map doesn't work here either, as these triggered spawns are placed directly below and around you. Hitting them directly in front of you with your main blast will cause it to dud, draining your precious energy. It's really just not fun at all, and I'm not quite sure what they thought they were doing here. I digress though, because at the very least this map isn't terribly long and will end soon enough. I love that he immediately just touches the controls in this secret prison dungeon, and this gal is just waiting there to talk to him directly.
I fell right into a trap. Can you get me out of here?
The whole area is shielded. We can't lock on to you. But there's a teleporter at the gate to the prison. Get there, and I'll bring you back here.
Yeah, well, when I get there, I'm going straight for Krieger.
This map is pretty fun once you die once to not knowing you need to use your blast right past the very first door. The excellent minimap system comes in very handy here, as the environments are pretty samey and the draw distance remains very minimal. But lots of little fun firefights occur here as you stock up on goodies once more since you start with nothing. Finally, you escape for the final confrontation with the President. The last map doesn't start out well because it has a Doom-style teleporting of enemies all over the goddamn place, forcing you to juke around like a madman. There are some secret areas to find here to arm your character up as well. Soon enough you'll reach the checkpoint where these fish things are floating around. Here you will want to get your psionic energy up as you have an actual boss battle to contend with.
I'm going to personally ensure you don't get out of line.
He's nothing special outside of the fact that he's an actual boss, something we haven't seen yet. He has a few small phases that simply changes his loadout. The lock-on cannon works great here, since you can strafe around freely while pounding his ass good. Eventually, he can't take it anymore and explodes with all of his energy, which ends the playthrough. Now we can watch this epic ending cutscene.
Now that free elections have been held, as new President of United Earth, I'm proud to promote you to Commander of the Lightstormer Forces and Keeper of the Orb.
I didn't have my mic on during this viewing, but rest assured I was laughing my ass off. It's just so fantastically camp. A+++, 10 thumbs up. Oh, now try hard mode. Good advice. Not doing it. The graphics are decent. The frame rate is smooth at 25 to 30 FPS, thanks to the standard 2D sprite animations for your enemies and weapons. I would have liked to seen a longer draw distance, but something would have had to have been sacrificed to make that happen. That said, they used what they had within the game engine to make the maps as immersive as possible, with some fairly convincing effects here and there. Nothing here was ever going to wow anyone, and I don't think that was the attempt. And that's why this game is also fun, unlike Project Tenka, the absolute opposite of this game, in my opinion. The music, on the other hand, it's there. I do like that it's not using Red Book audio, so the encounters can spring up more tense music when the shit hits the fan. It's just that the music, no matter how you serve it up, is about as appealing as this food that this guy is eating right now. It's nourishment. It serves its purpose, and that's about it. The sound effects, like so many others from this era, are all stock. I must have heard this demon voice 20 times if I heard it in one. But again, it serves its purpose, and with the amount of camp that this game really has going for it, I really think it adds to the charm. Disruptor is a rare title for me that is actually better now than I thought it was back then. I believe the publications lambasted the title for being another Doom clone, which it certainly was. But I feel like this one was the best use of that kind of gaming formula that I've seen outside of Doom itself. The Psionics system, along with the weapon variety, are very well balanced and force swapping around to occur almost all of the time, a hallmark of good first-person shooter design. Nothing is a go-to weapon for the whole playthrough, and it's just always satisfying killing shit. It's tightly paced with nice level design, and it's a great variety of enemies to contend with, and a gripping plot. Alright, I'm taking a lot of liberties with that last one, but come on, they built sets and put actors on here. It's gotta count for something. Unlike so many games that reviewers post on YouTube, I legitimately think people that have access to this game should pick it up and actually play it. It's an excellently designed, compact little gem of a Doom clone that sets it apart from so many others that tried and failed. Unless it's Alien Trilogy, of course. Thank you for watching the video. Also, thank you very much for subscribing, you myriad of new subscribers. I don't even know how to react to doubling the size of my channel with one video. But as a fan of Grimbeard and his reading out of all of his Patreons, I will read out all of my new subscribers that made it public so I can actually know who actually subscribes to me and so I can stalk them later. Dane Rowe, Zakotron HQ, City Ahmed Sai, Snubbles99, Nino Dashka, Philip Calhoun, Max Power, Mr. John Lennon 007, Taylor Wilms, Stacy Williams, Rob Haseman, Entrosky, Garg, Theoden Pershing, Dark Angel 1981, Jack the Tripper, Rick Mendina, Austin White, Megila Gorilla, M. Katz, Ghoul-97, A Toilet Nugget, that's fucking gross, Paul Redfield, Park Punk 2, DJ JC Bellick, Ballin30 2008, Theodore Buckmel, probably pronounced that wrong, Ryan Pelord, Jesus Christ Man, Laces Lawless, Robot Cow 28, The EPG Files, Mother Hydra, Thomas Karparkowitz, Lulz Load, La Biblioteca de Hedeon, Robbot, I didn't have to try to pronounce that right for the last 5 minutes, Preston Norton, Will Plum, Wilhelm Scream, JW, Individual, Sergio Damo de Lemos, Marting 1984, 16-Bit Jeff, Indie Mill, Pika Hunsunia Unflocked, Somebody Wake Hicks, Louderbacker, Cyprian Die Spudgebert. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I have to get it wrong. There's no way I got that right. Dark Seraph, surrounded by X's. Tachachki Soldier. Takachki Soldier. Michu 64. Tobias Larson. JP 66 Iffy. Zorro 4661. Thank you all. I'm going to sleep now because I just spent 45 minutes wrestling with my computer because I had the audacity to unplug my microphone, which caused an unbelievable myriad of issues. Have a good night.
Something went wrong with the preparation of my body. My brain aches, as if there's something deep inside it trying to overpower me. I must fight back against this terrible pain and the weakness in my limbs. And there are things here. I can't think. I want to destroy this place to stop them creating more things. They're gonna help me. There must be a power core here, surely.